Okay.
Oh, so welcome.
Hi.
Nicola here, and I'm joined by the gorgeous Angie Welton, yay, of the Witches Bazaar, who was part of my recent Live Your Gift experience. It was an online process, 5 weeks, where I was helping everyone in the group to move more deeply into their gifts, and also with the intention of being able to express their gifts more fully in the world, and also get well paid for it as well, because very important aspect. Yeah, exactly. And that's a part that a lot of unbound women can struggle with, actually.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll go into some of that during this conversation with Angie. But the reason I wanted to create the Live Your Gift experience is because living in and from your gift is one of the 5 principles of living unbound.
Yeah.
And it's a really key principle. It's, for me, it's really connected with being fully expressed in the world. But anyway, enough about me and what I think, because I could talk about that for ages, which is not gonna.
We're told not to, don't. Oh, no one else wants to hear about what you've got to say. Don't talk about yourself, because people start yawning. And all that.
Exactly. That's very true. That's very true, Angie. But I have invited you here to speak with you, so it would be a little bit rude if I just went on for about half an hour before getting Angie, thank you for having this conversation with me, because I think it's really helpful for other women to hear like the stories of other unbound women, people who aren't necessarily following the expected path, and are doing something different and creating new ways in the world. So I want to kick off by asking you, we're talking about living your gift, and what does that mean to you, to be living your gift in the world?
Oh my goodness.
A small question to start off with.
I suppose for me, it's because I've done so many things, so many different jobs, and gone so many different ways that have just not resonated with me at all. Some have a little bit, but there was usually something that kind of stopped me dead in my tracks, and I had to kind of walk away. So for me, the key thing for me is it's a cycle of energy. When I'm tapped into that, nothing stops it. It's like a freight train, and it's like a not a self-fulfilling prophecy. It feeds its own energy, if that makes sense. It has its own energy feed, because I'm 100% grounded in it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good way of putting it, actually.
Cool.
Let's steal that one.
Use it.
But you're right there. When we're really living in our gift, I always say your gift is you, but actually it takes on an energy of its own as well. Yeah. And like you said, it's unstoppable when we're really in that place. It's so powerful. And I was speaking to someone else, a client, about this last night, and we were talking about the fears and doubts that can come up when you're thinking about moving more deeply into your gift. But actually, when you're really in it, those fears and doubts almost become irrelevant, because your gift takes over, and it's like, well, nothing can stop me from doing this. This is so unique to me that nothing can touch it. So I love the way you put it there.
Cool.
So what stopped you from like living fully in your gift in the past? What are some of the things that held you back from that?
Crippling fear.
Yeah.
Crippling fear. One of the things that has kind of changed for me in a really big way over the past 10 years, I suppose, is being able to use my voice. When I grew up, it was like, no, shut up, you don't have an opinion, we don't want to hear from you. And it's our generation, I think, that's what our parents did. They shut you down all the time, shut you down. So for me to re-find my voice Feels like it's taken forever.
Yeah.
And that all came about because I really wanted to sing. And, you know, I was always told I couldn't. So I never did. Only to myself, though. Or with my friend in the front garden. And, you know, I ended up taking singing lessons. I ended up joining a theatre group. And, you know, and it was a great, big, long path. But it's ended up in a place where I can now fully, and that's not even finished yet. The journey's not even finished yet. I know it's not, because I've got more to do.
It's never finished.
I now, you know, standing up in front of people talking, no problem. Singing in front of a group of people, no problem. So, you know, that fear that I had used to get here, it'd get here, it'd be in my belly, you know. It's like, oh my God, I think, oh my God, I'm going to have an accident in a minute, oh my God.
Really terrifying.
Crippling, absolutely crippling, you know. So that for me has been the biggest thing that I've broken through, is that crippling fear, you know, absolutely, without question.
Yeah. Was that thunder in the background then?
That's big thunder in the background. Windows are open, you know, so I could, I'll be outside.
I love it. So how did you know, you've mentioned how it, you know, it's been a long journey, but to move from that place of, like, you know, crippling fear that you spoke about, and really feeling that kind of physically in your body, which I know a lot of the women watching will identify with. I certainly can. You know, I used to feel paralyzed with fear when it came to expressing myself in any way, certainly in public. How did you move past that? How did you move beyond it? And I know that won't be a quick answer, but, you know, if you can give us a sense of how that happened.
By it's going to sound really by actually, for the first time, I kind of really put it out there. I was on stage and I had to sing in front of an audience. And I've still got the video, and oh my God, when I listened to it, I'm like, oh my God, you poor girl. Because it was wobbly and it was all over the place, and I was just felt awful. You know, I think I'd taken a whole bottle of Rescue Remedy and it didn't even touch it.
Down in the Rescue Remedy.
Oh my God.
The more I take,
worse it gets. Oh, it's just, so for me, it was in the, actually, you know, well, it's that thing, and it feel the fear and do it anyway. So I was absolutely petrified, but, you know, I didn't actually have a choice, because they said to me, oh, blah, blah's dropped out. Can you take this role? Yeah, I guess so.
Well, that was a choice. It was.
It was a choice, but I kind of wasn't given a choice.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know, that was the first main kind of big thing that happened, and I suppose it's been a journey from there. You know, every time I did something like that, you know, I'd be petrified. Absolutely, oh my God, petrified. But I would still do it. I would still keep putting myself in those situations.
Yeah.
And I suppose, I don't know, I mean, training as a yoga teacher, it was a huge thing for me, because that is standing up in front of people. That is actually bearing yourself, you know. I can remember showing one pose, and I can't remember what it was, but I fell on my face. And everybody laughed. I think I laughed as well, and it was like, oh God, that hurt.
Yeah.
But, you know, it taught me a big thing about, you know, not fearing, you know, making mistakes in front of people, for goodness sake.
Exactly.
You're a people.
Yeah, exactly.
So are they, you know, and it doesn't matter.
It's really powerful, isn't it?
It really is. And I suppose the biggest thing for me is, because I was always, I kind of knew that I was a witch as a child. There was something going on in there, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And, you know, through my life, tried to step into it, never quite got there. And then, I think it was 3 years ago, I just went, and you know,
Yeah.
the rest is history. And and in this past 3 years, it's like, it's not a freight train anymore. I don't know what it is. It's like it's blasting through many things, and it is quite amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love the idea of that. It's almost like you kind of hop on board your gift and it will take you where you need to go.
Oh yeah.
And that can be a terrifying journey, but
Oh, it
it's
is
rewarding
absolutely
as well.
terrifying.
Yeah. And there were a couple of things that came up there from what you said, sharing your experience. I mean, one is this whole, it feels like your gift is very much tied together with that idea of being fully expressed and expressing yourself fully, and probably helping other people to do the same as
Oh
well.
yeah.
And you said, I didn't have a choice that first time you had to get up on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, you did, you could have said no, but I think with when we're in our gift, it's something we can't not do. We kind of can't say no, however terrifying it is. It's like, I know that I have to keep doing this, and however many challenges there are, I will keep going. So I think that's something that people watching will identify with. And also, when you spoke about being in the yoga class and falling on your face, I mean, I just think I know it must have been like at the time, it's like, oh my goodness,
it hurts.
Exactly, physically that hurt. But that kind of thing happens all the time in one way or another, doesn't it? When we're expanding and we're moving more deeply into our gift, we will we will mess it up. We will kind of fall flat on our faces in lots of different ways. But you keep going because it's important to you, and actually it's really powerful to the people who see that, to recognize, because very often, like you said, we're brought up not to express ourselves and to be quiet, but we're also brought up to believe, well, you can't make mistakes, and if you make mistakes, then it's the worst thing that could happen, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And actually to give yourself permission to,
it's one that my parents used to say, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Exactly. Well, we can carry all of this, and I just think what a gift to the women, or the people in that yoga class who saw you do that and then carry on, and they were able to kind of laugh with you. I just think it's so freeing when we allow ourselves to make mistakes and to move through that. So that's fantastic. Go you. So the live your gift process that we've just been through and we've just completed, what did you kind of specifically get out of that? Because you've done a lot of work, Angie, already. And like you say, particularly over the last 3 years, you really made that decision to step more fully into it. So what did you get out of kind of the last few weeks when we've been working together? What was most helpful?
It was like a key, and there's a word for something, an idea that actually opens doors in a bit. Hierarchy, you probably heard of that saying. And that's what it felt like for me. Because I got a huge mindset insight. Huge, because people are saying mindset, and I'm like, but I've done all this work, and I know that there was stuff that was stopping me, and I've worked on that, and it's like, God, how much more of this work do you have to do before things start happening? It's like, bloody hell. But the huge, and this was in week 2.
It was when we were talking about your money shadow and alchemizing that.
And through I think it was in the meditation. During the meditation, I got a big grey dense block here at my throat, which is really interesting because I've done a lot of work around this. So the fact that there's more, it's for goodness sake. But the feeling, the words that came with that were you have no chance. I'm like, oh my God, tears, oh my God, oh my God. And I think it was a couple of weeks after that, I was listening to something that Carolyn Elliott was talking about, and the rest of the sentence came when I was watching that, and the rest of the sentence was, you have no chance to make big money. That was the rest of the sentence. So I got part of it, and then the other part came 2 weeks later. It was like,
well, it's not going to be linear, is it, with you?
no.
Is it?
Never. Timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah.
So that to me was huge. And I'm not even sure. I don't know. It's not something I remember from childhood, but it might have been something, might have even been something my mum carried, you know.
Yeah.
Her family and my dad's family were poles apart. So, you know, as far as I know, you know, it could have been from something there.
Yeah.
But that was a huge thing for me.
Mm.
Today, just before, there's thundering and lightning outside, and I put some incense on, I got another plop. And it was like, yeah, but Ange, you know, this is infinite. This is endless. This is limitless. So why are you letting that put a thing on you? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really amazing insight there. And there were more as well.
But having that awareness of that, you know, that you were carrying that. And like you said, whether that's from, you know, something that was said to you, or maybe it's something that you're carrying from your mum, even, you know, further down your ancestral line. I think a lot of us are carrying, you know, these stories and these beliefs and these patterns that have been created.
Yeah.
We've been born, which is a bit unfair, really, but you know. But the fact that it came to you, you know, that feels like it's really time for you to kind of clear that, not just for yourself, but you know, for
absolutely, for my family,
for everyone who's come before,
you know, and everyone around me, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, amazing. So has that been a challenge? I know it is, like I said at the beginning, you know, the challenge for actually getting paid when it comes to our gifts can be a huge challenge for many, you know, particularly unbound women, because we struggle with doing things in the traditional way, and we can associate kind of money and success with, you know, the patriarchal systems and structures that have been in place. So is that something that's been a challenge for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think when I, you know, was working, I never worked in a, you know, like never got well paid for jobs. I worked in a factory for many years, and so all my friends would be earning like twice what I was earning, you know, working in an office, you know, dressing all smart and all that. I'm like, no, that's really not me. That's just not me.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, jeans and a t-shirt, you know, hoiking stuff about. That was me. Oh no. And but there was a mantra that I had. I'm not ambitious. I'm really not ambitious. You know, I'm not ambitious. And I used to say that to myself all the time. I'm not ambitious. I'm not business minded. I'm not ambitious. I fulfilled my own prophecy there, because now I'm trying to start, you know, and even when myself and my partner were doing yoga classes and workshops, it had hit a ceiling, very low ceiling. And then things would drop off, and we'd be like, we don't get this because we're good at what we do. What's going on? So they're a very definite pattern. And that's happened with you know, the courses that we're trying to get out there as well. You know, it's not even a steady trickle. It's like, ooh,
there's another one. Clap of thunder.
So, you know, trying to, you know, and we've done, you know, like how to do marketing and all the rest of it, but at the end of the day, if you've still got that thing in place, that's, you know, that very low ceiling, you know, no matter how much marketing you do, because you're stopping yourself. So yeah, very.
Yeah. And like you said, it doesn't matter how much marketing you do, it doesn't matter how good you are, and you obviously are really good at what you do,
Thank you.
but it can still, you know,
It
it can,
stops you.
exactly. So how are you moving through that?
That's a very good question. Um, there is something that came up because I was at the same time I was doing your course, I was doing deity connection work as well. And something that came up, it came up during that, and it also came up during your course, was around the throat.
Yeah.
And there's something that I would do when we were doing sound healing sessions, which I don't know why, but I've been told to call it gong song. Yeah, Ian calls it light language, but I've been told that it's called gong song. So, okay, I'll call it gong song. And I have been told that if I do that and get it out there, then it's almost, you know, a vibrational thing.
Yeah.
But I'm stopping myself doing it. I'm like finding other things to do.
Funny that.
And not doing it. You know, and I thought I was way past all that procrastination stuff, but obviously there's something that's, you know, like there's more important things to do.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We can get insights like this. You know, this has been given to you.
Yes.
It's really clear.
Yeah.
And often, you know, when something comes through like that, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. But I'm just going to do this over here first. I'm going to do this over, you know, I'm going to do this. All this other stuff that I don't really maybe want to do, or, you know, I'm doing because I've kind of created these tasks for myself.
Yes.
Thing, like you said, and it's the vibration of that. It just feels like it's been given to you, and when you do it, that's going to be like a real opening point.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, you've shared it here, Angie.
Oh yes, I've done it now.
Exactly. Gong song. But this is the thing. I think, you know, a huge part of really living your gift is to, you know, trust what comes through and to act, you know, act on that as well.
Definitely.
It's massive. And that's what kind of helps us to break through those ceilings we put on ourselves.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we all look forward to hearing more about Gong Song. Very soon.
Post it in the group.
Yeah, you have to post it. This is going outside the group as well, so you have to post it.
I've done it now, haven't I?
You really have. But I think, you know, just going back to what you said about how you used to say to yourself, I'm not ambitious. And we can use that. I remember when I was back when I was at college, and a friend gave me a key ring. I think it was like a Bart Simpson key ring. It's like back kind of early 90s. And it said underachiever and proud of it. And there was like this thing of like, yeah, it's cool not to do, you know, to kind of be a bit of a slacker and, you know, not do too much and hold back. And I don't want to kind of be really successful. I'm happy just ticking along.
Yeah.
But actually, you know, what I think a lot of us want to do is create like a new kind of success. And the ambitious piece is about, you know, really sharing your gift with a huge amount of people, because it is about like creating real change. And I get really excited when I think about all these unbound women out there working their magic and getting really well rewarded for it. And reaching more people, and not just people who are already into this kind of thing, but you know, people who maybe haven't heard this kind of stuff before, you know, particularly with what you do, Angie.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's amazing. It boggles my box because I'm in a few witchy groups, and there are so many out there who really don't know what they're doing. Don't know what they're doing. They're so confused because there's so much out there online. It's too much. There is too much, because then they, trying to sift through that for some people is like well, they stop, they give up, and they put it down. They never go back to it.
Yeah.
It's an overwhelm.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, well, I've got to do something about this.
Yeah.
So we did.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about what you actually do in relation to that, Angie, so that, you know, for people listening.
Okay. Well, there's our group where, you know, we kind of it's actually turning into more than I ever thought it was going to be. It was originally like a support group for any of our courses, but it's a family.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And
Yeah.
that's not what I was originally setting it up to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of morphed into this amazing thing.
So that's taken on a life of its own as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And that's in the past November, December, January, February, March, April, May, 7 months.
Yeah.
You know, we had a Facebook page and everything for our yoga business, and you know, it was just like wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
That's another huge sign that, you know, you're on the right path.
Exactly. Yeah.
And kind of our thing, my thing, and Ian as well, my partner. It's funny because we run parallel paths.
Yeah.
Then we met. It's like, this is a bit mad.
Yeah. Love that.
And our thing's always about sharing knowledge. It always has been. You know, it's like if something, you know, is behind a curtain, it's like, what is behind the curtain?
Yeah.
We want to get that out there because it doesn't belong behind the curtain.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is a couple of years ago now, I was invited to join a witchy coveney, you know, an actual physical thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it's amazing, brilliant, fantastic. And they were not interested in sharing knowledge. So what's the point of that then?
Exactly.
Bye.
Yeah.
And, you know, I never went back. So for us, it's all about sharing knowledge and things that people don't necessarily know about, like grounding, for example.
Yeah.
So even, you know, in yoga, it's not taught a lot. Kundalini, yes, but in normal yoga, grounding is not really discussed or taught. You know?
Yeah.
It's all about getting your foot behind your ear. Which I've never understood that mentality. So, you know, grounding, and actually, you know, the most important tool in your witchy toolbox is your energy, your hands, you know, your magical self. So it's kind of educating people around that, and that's in our a couple of our free things that we offer.
Yeah.
And then it's really about getting rid of the fear, you know, because I had fear around witchcraft and witches and the moon and magic, you know. So I was intrigued, but I was so scared of it as a kid, you know. Even, you know, the times when I kind of tried to step into it, there was always something that was, you know, like, oh no, I can't do that because people think I'm weird.
Yeah. So interesting. But we're taught to fear our magic, aren't we?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
I just love it. It's like it's agreeing with everything you're saying. It's like, yeah.
So yeah, we do some free stuff around key things, and we're actually going to be putting together a self-healing free little course as well, because that's another important thing. Self-healing, heal thyself.
Absolutely.
Because we're all guilty of not looking after ourselves one way or another sometimes. So and then we have a, you know, a small course which is around getting rid of those preconceptions and those little ticks and niggles around witchcraft. And then there's a foundation course as well, which we've actually recently had our first graduates.
Yay, amazing.
Really
well
cool.
done. That's
really cool. And we've got a few people that are doing scholarships, that have actually got scholarships that are doing the course.
Oh, wonderful. So good.
It's really exciting.
So if people are interested in finding out more about that, they can come over to, is your website the best place for them to find out about?
thepathofwitchcraft.weebly.com.
Okay.
Our other website. We got to, I don't know why I did that. It's a bit complicated, but
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's good. People will be able to click through and
yes,
find that and
yeah,
find out more about what you do, because it's
absolutely.
really important work, and it ties in so much, you know, with what we've been working on in Live Your Gift, because you said, you know, the most important element kind of in magic is you, and it's the same in your business. It doesn't matter, you know,
Yeah,
even what kind of skills or expertise you have.
yeah.
You know, it's your energy that's really important. So there's a lot of kind of synchronicities between the work that we both do.
Yeah.
Oh, Angie, I could like literally talk to you all day. There's a lot more, and there's a lot more here around, you know, what we've just said about how we get taught to create our own magic and our power. And I think that's kind of at the crux of being able to step more fully into your gift as well. But maybe we'll have another conversation around that at another time.
One little story I want to share around how powerful we are, as magical beings. Last year, it was July, just before the school summer holidays last year. We were in Dorset and we were camping, reasonably near the sea. Yeah, it was near Swanage. And it was the last day, and we were just sat around and started playing the drum, and Ian started a chant around the elements and come and dance for us.
Oh, wow.
For us.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you were in the UK that time last year, massive storm went on for 6 hours, went all the way up the coast, and the lightning was orange.
No way.
Yeah. Went all the way up the coast. It even ended up in Norfolk.
Wow.
Dartford. It went all around the coast.
And that was.
Did we do that?
Yes, you did.
We did that.
You put on quite a show.
Because everything. There was lightning. There was wind. Huge winds. Rain. The earth was shaking.
Oh, so powerful. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So never ever doubt your power, ever.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. It's a great point to end on. Woo! Really fired up. Thank you so much, Angie.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for offering that for free, because it's amazing.
You're welcome.
Absolutely amazing.
So welcome. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll put the links to Angie's website below this video so that you can access them, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.